This video is sponsored by Cake Wallet, the easiest open source wallet to store Bitcoin, Monero, and Litecoin securely on mobile and desktop devices. When buying, selling, and exchanging crypto or trading for gift cards, Cake Wallet ensures privacy and security, giving you the keys to your coins. At Vacation Genie, we believe digital currencies are meant to do more than just sit in your wallet. They're meant to take you places. We want to help you step into the future of cryptocurrency spending, as travel is one of the top categories for spending your crypto. It provides you with the best ROI, lasting memories. Make sure to check out Vacation Genie today. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Randi Hipper Show. I'm your host. Today we have a beautiful guest, but before I talk to him, guys, please make sure you smash the like, subscribe to the channel, share this out with friends to make sure they're hearing about this informative news, as well as getting to know our new bestie of the Randi Hipper Show. Also, guys, check out our 3 sponsors, Cake Wallet, Market Cipher. Use code ZESTY for 15% off, and of course, check out vacationgenie.com today. And we're gonna dive right into our friend AJ. AJ, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I remember we used to do like spaces together like years ago, and now it's come full circle. We've both have grown into our own creators, and it's been awesome to see you like the past 2 years for you have been awesome, and it's been really awesome. It's been cool for me to see it from where I stand. It's awesome. Proud of you.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm proud of you too. And I find it really awesome what you're doing because you're also like in your 20s still, right? You're still in your 20s?
I'm 33.
Wow, I thought you were like 25, AJ.
Yep, that's why I'm awesome.
You have such a youthful energy, and no, I absolutely love it. And I feel like I've seen you grow a lot, from being, on your like grind, being a writer, and then jumping into what you're doing now. And so I'm really happy for you. I always root for people to be independent if they could. But we're gonna actually rewind and get to this current spot a little bit later because I want to get to know you. I want everyone else to get to know you because you've been absolutely killing it lately, blowing up. So we're gonna talk about high school AJ. What were you up to, and what did you think your life was going to lead to? Did you ever think you were going to do something online, never mind in something crazy like blockchain?
Well, actually I always knew electric money would happen like back in those days. I remember like literally talking to like my friends and some of my teachers about it like before Bitcoin even happened. Cause like,
Wow.
at the time, like I was really into music and I like raced motocross and skateboarded and stuff. And I remember like saying like, well, like if music went from, discs to cassette tapes to 8-tracks to CDs to iPods to streaming, like isn't the same thing going to happen with money? And it was only a matter of time until Bitcoin happened, so I kind of saw it coming because of how closely I followed music, if that makes sense. But yeah, high school AJ, he was something. Generally I got really good grades in high school because I raced dirt bikes, and if I didn't get good grades, I couldn't go to the track. So my dad played that card pretty damn well. I'm not gonna lie. Tip my hat to him. So yeah, so I mean, but then there was another side to the coin too, though, because motocross is like a really gnarly sport, and I've broken I think like 28 bones in my life racing. So I was every now and then I'd like have a cast on my leg, or my ribs were broken, or I was always broken off. So that was like anytime I had an injury is when I was able to like go to parties and stuff at school. And then that was like the other side of the coin. So it was kind of like a back and forth of like doing music with like my one group of friends and then racing with my other group of friends. And then it was a really good time. I graduated high school in 2009. So
wow.
those were the years. Yeah, those were the years. That was a good time.
Yeah, it was like your high school graduation sending you into life was also when Bitcoin was born. So I think that's pretty interesting as well. I mean, going and like doing like all the racing and stuff. I think I've seen you actually post about it, and you still go to the tracks, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I still ride dirt bikes. I still race motocross. Like I still race. Like it's not like a serious thing for me like it used to be. Like there was a point in my life where my main goal was to go be a professional motocross racer. And they obviously that is the gnarliest sport there is, and it's but I actually think that it really helped me in my journey in crypto, because like when you're racing all the time, what you're doing is you're taking calculated risk. Every time you let the clutch out, every time you hit a jump, you're taking a calculated risk. And I actually believe deep down that a lot of motocross racers would make for pretty good crypto traders, not gonna lie.
Definitely a lot of ups and downs there too. Like,
Hey.
because that is just wild that you just go out there to intentionally go through pain in one way or another. Breaking 28 bones, like, that's insane. How do you recover from breaking your body so much? Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, you're chasing the dream, right? And like, like I said, like I didn't really have a plan B when I was a kid in high school. I was like really kind of focused like this on racing. And like, if I broke my wrist, I'd be like, all right, doctor, like, what do I got? 3 months, 4 months? Like, how long until I can get back out there? And for me, it was always just about racing. So it didn't really matter, because it's when you race dirt bikes, or hell, even if you ride motorcycles, it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of dealing with it, and I kind of, I had some gnarly injuries, but a lot of the times it was just like, like broken wrists or a broken thumb or ribs or leg. I never broke my femur, which was big, because that's like gnarly injury. But then the last one I broke, which is actually really funny, I broke my humerus, which is this one above your elbow, above my elbow. I broke it in half, and that was the last time I ever had an injury like that. And by the time my finger started working, COVID happened. So that was the amount of downtime when I decided, like, okay, I'm going to get into this crypto thing, like for real. Because I was already in crypto a little bit before that, like playing poker and stuff. But like, because I had to buy the Bitcoin to play poker, like, because gambling and it was a whole thing. Sorry. It was hard to play poker in America online for a couple of years there. And that's what got me into Bitcoin. But when I broke my arm real bad and then COVID happened, I knew, I was like, I can't race. I gotta like stop racing. Like, this isn't working out, So I need to really pivot into, I need to try something else. And I picked crypto, and I just went into it as hard as I could. I literally studied for crypto. Like, I studied like I was studying for a test in school. Like, I would like make myself like
a study
diagrams
guide.
and exactly.
I did that too.
Flashcards. I literally systematically tricked my brain into everything crypto, and it was the best thing I ever did, and all that education paid off. Kind of crazy.
No, I love that, because I did the same exact thing. When I was in high school, I was like the nerd, and people used to come to me for my study guides, because I used to make one for every test. And people also tried to take my iPad to see like what I was doing for homework. And I was like, okay, well, you're crazy. But I think, chill, bro. But I think the study guide thing is so important, because even if you're physically writing it down or you're on Google Docs, at least you have something to even refer back to, because it's like, even in school, like later in the year when you have your like whole year final or whatever, you go and look back at your notes from the beginning. And I think that's also really important, to always have something to look back on. But when you first discovered Bitcoin, what year was it? And it was for poker, you said.
Yeah, so I was living in Connecticut. I want to say 2015, 2016, right in there somewhere. It's kind of a blur, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, my buddy Eric, God rest his soul, he was really big on Bitcoin. And he told me over and over and over and over again, AJ, you got to get into Bitcoin. We're talking Bitcoin was like a couple $100.
Oh shit.
Like he was telling me. And I was just like, dude, like, I just want to take my girlfriend out to dinner. Like leave me alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have much money at the time. I was struggling. And it wasn't easy, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And I was just like, dude, you're crazy, dude. You're crazy. But then like I like to play poker, you know what I mean? So I would put like $100 on like a website or whatever, and just kind of spend some hours clicking away, and sooner, as time went on and the more he drilled it into my head, I was like, you know what, you're probably right. And then I started buying some Bitcoin instead of playing poker with it. And I would say in probably 2017, maybe it was 2018. I'm not really sure. Those years are, like I said, are a blur to me. But I cashed out my Bitcoin for probably like, I don't know, $70,000, $80,000. And I just pissed it against the wall like so fast, like because I never like had that kind of money before, you know what I mean? And but that's when I realized like, oh, okay, this crypto thing, like that's it. That's the ticket. And that's like, you know, obviously when I decided, like kind of what led into me deciding, all right, you can make a career out of this. Like you can learn this. I don't know if it's content, I don't know if it's day trading, I don't know what it is, but I knew that I could make a career out of crypto. And yeah, I was right. Definitely right about that one.
Yeah, so you got into crypto, and then you were originally, because your handle is AJ Writes Crypto, and now people know you as a trader. So I want to kind of dive into like your crypto career journey. So you were playing that poker. You said, okay, crypto's the ticket, but how did you make the career out of it? Where did you start?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, of course it takes time to get
Absolutely.
that baseline knowledge about, like, if you ever watch football with someone who's never watched football before, you got to explain what like an interception is, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but you have to give those people credit. They don't know what they're looking at. So it takes time. You have to watch enough football to understand what the hell is going on. But with crypto, it's like that, but way more complicated. So, you know, um, once I got my baseline level, I started dabbling with trading, and that's when I found Market Cipher. And that is when I started listening to Crypto Face. And I was a fan of Crypto Face for years before I
oh,
became friends
love
with him.
him.
Now he is one of my best friends to this day, and thank God for that guy.
Absolutely,
And
same.
yes, 100%. And shout out to Market Cipher, man, for real. And I will go ahead and say it. If it wasn't for Crypto Face, I wouldn't be standing here right now. That's facts. That's facts. But you know, because of that, I started listening to BitBoy Crypto, and I liked his channel at the time. He had a lot of energy. He had a lot of positive things to say at the time, and he was a force in crypto. And I remember, you know, I was trading, you know, kind of was building my portfolio and just working on crypto every single day, you know, getting into NFTs, just late 2020, early 2021, we're at right now. And I was just like full-time crypto without the money yet, but
Oh, wow.
I was completely focused like this. I knew it, that I was going to figure it out. And I know if I would have listened to my dad, like everyone was like, why don't you just get a job working construction? Like, why don't you just like why don't you learn to become a car dealer, become a bartender, or like do this or do that? I didn't listen to anybody else. I was like, no, I know what I'm going to do. Like, just let me cook. Okay. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I doubled down on myself. You know what I mean? And I
Absolutely.
think that's the advice a lot of people watching this might need to hear, that like, don't listen to anyone, double down on yourself. That's it. That's it. And sure enough, my door opened. There was a video where Ben was like, hey, we're looking for, you know, technical analysis people to work here for us. And at the time, I have already been filling my brain for like a year and a half, 2 years, TA, because I got into Market Cipher and Crypto Face like as that all happened, and I was like learning how to trade, and I knew all the indicators, I knew all the chart patterns, I already like flashcarded my way into understanding all that stuff. So I felt like I would do a good job, and I sent a video in a video submission, and I don't know how many video submissions got sent in. My guess is probably over 100. And 3 weeks later, they called me,
Oh,
and
wow.
they said, "Hey, how do you feel about writing?" And you know, it's actually really funny. I thought I was going to get the technical analysis job, the TA job, and I was like, it was so funny that he said writing, because writing was also one of my loves, one of my passions. Like I literally did a creative writing class, like a summer work camp at Yale for creative writing,
Oh,
and
shoot.
I always have been someone that like I can explain how what's going on in my head better typing than I can out loud, which is still something I'm working on to this day. And it was just so weird when he said that. I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that, no problem. And then they said, all right, give me a script about Ethereum. And I stayed up to 4 o'clock writing it, and I fell asleep, and I woke up, and the whole thing word for word was on YouTube the next morning when I woke up.
Holy shoot. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And this was like prime BitBoy, like back when it mattered in 2021, early
Yeah.
2021. And
You're
so
funny.
then I realized that I had like power, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like they weren't checking what I was writing. They were just like, they knew that it was good. They knew that I was factual, that I was sticking to my points, and you know, they knew I did it by the book. And so many times I could say whatever I wanted and he would just read the teleprompter. And it was like actually crazy. I mean, I wrote over 400 videos for BitBoy Crypto.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of videos. So I worked remote for a year. And then I went out to Atlanta to actually watch a dirt bike race. And then while I was there, I was like, hey, can I stop by? And they were like, yeah, 100%. And then I went out to lunch with Ben and Nick Demondi. And on the way back, Ben was like, so you're coming out here. He didn't ask. He just, you're moving out here. We need you full time. And I was like, okay. And I knew that I already saw a lot of the tension in the office just the one day I was there. I saw a lot of bullshit, a lot of egos, a lot of chatter.
Yeah.
I saw it all and I went into it anyway because I knew it was an opportunity. And they didn't pay me much. In fact, I would argue they underpaid me, vastly underpaid me. But I got paid in social currency. I got paid in exposure. I knew if I worked harder than everybody else and I just shut my mouth and put my headphones in and typed away, that I would get my shot. And sure enough, you know, I did the price prediction department, which was arguably the best segment of the week. And that's like kind of where I started to grow my Twitter. And then obviously Ben and TJ broke up and I sided with Ben because at the end of the day, TJ did steal from Ben. That is my opinion. And then, you know, I tried to be there for Ben the best I could, but then, you know, he obviously relapsed, which isn't good. And I tried to support. I would never enable him because I know addiction too well from, you know, family members and my past, like late teens, early 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to break away, and it was sad and it sucks. And he said a lot of mean things that aren't true. Like he thinks that, like, I don't know, that I teamed up with some lawyer who's connected to,
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was a little bit out there.
I was like, what are you talking about, dude? I don't know who that guy is. I don't even remember his name, like Klein or something. I don't even know what he was talking about. I'm like, bro, like, do you really think I had all this time to conspire? Like, you know, I've been working my ass off building AJ Writes Crypto. Like, I don't have time to build a conspiracy about you, bro. You know, and like, unfortunately, when anyone asks me my backstory, that is the story. Like, I can't pretend that didn't happen. I can't act like Ben didn't give me my chance in crypto because he did. But I also have to say, and then he had a psychotic break, and then and as he did that, you know, I made my millions and moved on. So it's kind of like, you know, it is what it is. But I'm glad I'm glad it all happened, and I'm a better man for it, for sure.
You know, it's not like it's a problem that it's a part of your story, because I think everybody's stories has a lot of ups and downs. And I could tell you personally that I've gone through a lot of ups and downs. And even the past like year has probably been one of the hardest years of my life. And I haven't really like talked about that at all on the channel. I'm kind of like saying it now because like it's the moment it feels right. But I definitely think that I think whatever's supposed to happen will happen. And I'm a strong believer in divine timing. And, you know, whatever the will is what's going to happen. And we're all on a path for a reason, is how I feel.
100,000%. I always felt that when, you know, there's an old poker player, Doyle Brunson. He would always say, if luck shuts the door, break in through the window. And that's what I did my whole life. Luck, like I felt like I've been swimming against the current for 33 years. And
Sheesh,
you know, and luck shut the door, I broke in through the window. It's that simple. It's that simple. Like I didn't listen to what anyone told me. In the eyes of everyone else, I was crazy.
Same.
You know what I mean? But you know, when you make a few mil and everyone shuts up pretty quick, you know. And it is funny, like kind of in retrospect, like but even my own dad being like, damn, like you were right. Like to hear that from him is like, that's heavy. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I'm obviously, I'm grateful for Ben Armstrong, man. Like I want him to find his bottom, because the truth is that there's Ben that we all actually know and love, and then there's this other guy, and that other guy's a dick. You know what I mean? And like I hope that, I pray for him every night. I do. I pray for him. I hope that he finds his bottom. I hope he finds true north. I really do. I mean that.
Me too. And you know, I've known Ben for a really long time as well. When I first got into crypto, the first conference I spoke at, I think I was like late 17, or I was even 18 years old. And I remember everyone was like going to find Ben Armstrong, like, oh my God, Rip Boy's here. And I just ran into him in the lobby, and he was just saying like he was so proud of me and all these things. And I was just like, man, this guy is so sweet and so down to earth. And to see what happened recently, I feel really bad. I even went to his book signing in New York. I was there with him, his now ex-wife, and a few others, and it was a really nice time. I just, you know,
Did we all go out for Italian food that night?
Oh yeah, you were there too. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, so
that's when we met.
Yeah, that's when we met in real life. Yes, I thought I met you before that. But yeah, we all went out to dinner, and like that was like a really nice time. But I felt some tension there as well, based on what he was saying on stage, which we won't go into. But I definitely feel for him, and I feel for his ex-wife. I think she's a wonderful person. And so, yeah, I just hope that everybody is going to be okay at the end of the day. And I know you've said this as well, we never wish bad on anybody, because that's also bad karma, and it's just not the frame of mind that we should be in. But nevertheless, like if it's a part of your story, it is part of your story for a reason, because it only built your character and brought you to where you are. And of course, you're always going to give credit to him. Like, you know, I'm always going to give credit to my dad for telling me about Bitcoin and crypto. And, you know, even when I got started, like I'll always give him the credit for that. So I definitely am on your side. And I feel like we're very like on the same wavelength right now. But swimming against the green is, or against the tide, is very difficult. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that grind unless you've been in it. And so now that you're independent and everything like that, how do you feel about being independent? What's your daily looking like? I know you have a daily stream. Please talk about that, and I'll throw your links in the chat right now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've kind of been working on being independent since I started AJ Writes Crypto, which is my channel. I'm at a little over 20,000 subscribers. Not bad for a channel that's only been around for like 15 months or something like that. So I'm really proud of the progress that I've made on there. You know, it was, I don't know, at some point last year, I really understood what was happening, and I took a lot of time to write down my intentions and to write down my plan and how this was going to work, because like, you know, it was funny. Like I kind of planted these seeds early when I was writing, and I kind of have to tell this part of the story for it to make sense. Like, so if Ben and them, if Nick asked me for a script about Phantom, you know, give me 1,200 words on Phantom, I wouldn't just research it on my computer. I would get on the phone and until I got someone from Phantom on the phone. I would just I would figure out who's their CMO, who's their CEO, who's on the team, who can I talk to? I need an original quote for a video. And doing that was actually genius on my part. And I kind of, you know, knew what I was doing as it went, because I knew that I was building my own network of people too. And it was genius. And I'm glad that I took the time to do that work way earlier, because then once I came out on my own, I mean, AJ Writes Crypto, my channel, I think had 7,000 subscribers before I even put out a single video. And I already had like 3 or 4 sponsors before I went live for the first time. And having that kind of support was really big. I mean, you know, I'm a media partner with Algorand. I'm a media partner with VeChain, both respectable, you know, top 60 blockchains. You know, I had a handful of other deals going on at the time, not to mention, I've had like Karate Combat right now, like with Polymarket and Market Cipher and crypto chips and like all of these. I've had all the support, and it has really, it snowballed last year. And as the year went on, I realized like how ridiculous it was. So then I kind of got to a point where I was like, like I got into crypto for survival. And now, I'm way past that point and I can literally do whatever I want. And I kind of told myself like, I want to give back. Like I want to give back because I know when I first started listening to Crypto Face and BitBoy, I was that guy at work with one headphone in my ear, hoping that at something I would hear something and hoping that I could find a way for that to happen to me. And somehow, some way against the current, I figured it out. So now I'm in a position where I want to give back to that person at work right now listening to this with their headphones on. And so that kind of ties into what I'm doing now. Right now, Sunny Lou from VeChain and we have teamed up and we're giving away 4 Teslas this year.
That's crazy. Let me
the
go get
first
that link.
Yeah, for sure. The first Tesla giveaway goes off in 3 days. Could not be more grateful for Sunny and VeChain and the support they've given in the channel over the years, and they're really amazing people. And yeah, so we teamed up on it, and so the first one's in 3 days, and we have 3 more this year, and it's rumored that the last giveaway is going to be a Cybertruck. So stick around.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, guys, the link is in the chat right now. It's going to take you to AJ's tweet. All you have to do is smash the like, retweet, and click that link and go for it. VeChain's going to give you a little Tesla. That's so awesome. So how do you feel about Teslas? So you own one, right? You have a Cybertruck?
I do have a Cybertruck, yes.
Yeah, so how do you like it? Does it have good mileage?
It's a tank. It's a tank. It's actually really funny because when I bought the Cybertruck, I found out Jada, my fiance, I found out she was pregnant about a month later. Oh, and then I was like, like maybe I should have bought a house. But like, I didn't know it at the time, but then I kind of realized like divine timing. I think like the Cybertruck was put in my life for a reason, because it's a tank. And like with my fiance and a daughter in that, there's no other vehicle I'd rather have them in, because if that thing gets into an accident with anything, that truck's gonna win. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with it, and also for anyone wondering about the giveaway, if you don't like Teslas or whatever, that's totally fine. Still sign up for the giveaway, because if you win, you can just accept the value of the car in crypto, and that's a nice little $40,000 boost to your portfolio instead of driving away in a car. So you can hate Tesla and still win here.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so valid. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, that 40 grand can give you, like, generational wealth down the line. Holy wow. Okay, that was a little plug right there. So go enter that giveaway. That's so awesome. So now you have your Cybertruck. You're doing really well. And I'm really happy for you, man. Like, there's nothing more I like to hear than that. So as you guys are smashing the likes, because we like to do that, I want you to tell me about how you feel about the current market, how you feel about your altcoins right now, because I know you're a big fan of, like you said, VeChain and Algo. So why do you like VeChain and Algo? Let's talk about that. And then if you want to pull up their charts, you can do that too, and talk about the recent price action. I don't know if you could,
so let's start at the beginning. So why do I like VeChain and Algo? I'll start with VeChain. Well, when you have a marketing budget of, let's say, X amount of millions of dollars, we've seen what so many crypto companies spend that marketing money on. It's awful. We've seen it.
Awful.
It's awful. It's awful. And VeChain has decided, let's not do what they're doing. Let's start a program that incentivizes people through free crypto to do simple actions that are more sustainable for planet Earth. For example, mugshot. I did my mugshot this morning. I drink coffee every day. Mama needs her gasoline. And all you do is, instead of drinking coffee out of a paper or plastic cup, if you use a cup like this, you take a picture of it and you earn free crypto every morning before you even had your coffee. Or if you drive an electric vehicle, if you charge your electric vehicle, you earn free crypto. If you want to go on a walk, you can earn free crypto. Your grocery receipts. If you pick up dog poop or whatever, you go on a walk. There's so many things on VBetterDAO you can earn free crypto for doing. Like, you can clean up a park with your friends and earn free crypto. Like, I'm not kidding. And it is the most noble effort in crypto, period.
I love that.
And not only that, they're a sponsor of the UFC. So they have probably some of the best visibility. I'd say top 3 visibility in all of crypto, if not number 1. You could argue crypto.com, but they're an exchange, not a layer 1. So I would put VeChain in a category of its own in terms of layer 1 promotional efforts, because they sponsor the UFC, but now with the TKO merger, they sponsor the UFC, Power Slap, PBR Bull Riding, and the WWE.
Oh shoot, I love WWE.
I do too, and I
AEW.
just went to Raw and watched Logan Paul get kicked in the face. It was great, and like I just did an interview with Dana White like 3 weeks ago, and like it's absolutely insane. And VeChain's gonna have one hell of a bull run, man. Obviously, excuse me, I got the hiccups. I can only say so much, but VeChain is going to absolutely destroy this bull run. In terms of Algorand, I think that they also have a rock solid case with the RWA, the whole RWA narrative. The Boston Consulting Group did a study that the RWA sector would be worth roughly 16 trillion by 2030, and any crypto project that manages to capture 0.02% of that market share, that's a multi-billion-dollar market cap. So I think Algorand, with Lofty and everything else they're doing and how fast the blockchain is, and now that staking is available, I like the way they're doing it. It's badass. And Algorand, my top 3 picks, Algorand, VeChain, and HBAR, were all top 10 performers in the December pump that we had at the end of last year. And I obviously, that tells me, okay, it's 2024 and people see the value in these projects to the point that they're all in the top 10 performers. History is going to repeat itself when altcoins wake up again big time. So yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. I also really like Ondo. I've been looking at ApeCoin because of the other side metaverse that's coming out, and I'm in the yacht club. So I've kind of have learned some things about what they're doing. And I actually think that there is some, I don't think it's going to go back to $28, but I think we're going to see an Ape revival next all run. I really like SWI. I really like SUI, and then SEI, excuse me. And a handful of others. But now I at the end of the day, I there's like the altcoins I buy and hold, but then there's the altcoins I day trade. And that is a completely different animal. So I'll trade any chart with volume. It doesn't matter to me, So but yeah, how do I share my screen here?
I think you just click the share button on the bottom. I think a green share. Yeah, and then I can pull it up. There we go.
Cool.
Beautiful. You're good.
Awesome. So right now we are looking at Bitcoin. All right. And of course, Bitcoin this year, hasn't really surprised me, because it kind of has, we've been through this playbook once, right? So when we came through 2024 into 2025, it was the kind of the year of the flag, right? And generally what happens with flags is you could measure either like from here to here, or even from here to here. And then you can kind of add that on to the top of the flag like that. And then that kind of acts as a measured move. And, and this one was like obviously really pronounced, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin, that's just a very rough measurement. And I do feel that Bitcoin can actually go further than that, but that would spit us out around 135 just from the way I measured that flag that time. Also, and it doesn't feel that much different than what we went through here. So when we kind of have this downtrend there, it was kind of more of just a more descending, maybe broadening downtrend, but it kind of feels a lot like the flag that we had right there. Like, does it not? It has like the same characteristics. And basically what I'm seeing here is that from the higher high, we went 47% above. So so we go to this higher high, which would take us back to, 109. All right. And if we went, 47% up from that point, like we did the last time, I don't know why it's not letting me drag as I pull it. So I'm kind of just clicking. So 35 is 147. Yeah. So, probably 159, 160 range based off that idea. Just kind of thinking like bull run projections for Bitcoin. I always have thought possible for Bitcoin to be able to get into the 200s this cycle, but there has to be a point, obviously. If there was ever a time for crypto to have a lengthened cycle, I believe this would be the time, given who's in the White House and everything like that. But I also am aware of a couple other ideas, like if things were to turn around and like kind of reset, similar to what happened here. I mean, we had our all-time high, back in January, December, around 109, and then Bitcoin actually came crashing down 32% over the next 74 days back to 73. And that wasn't really a surprise to me at all, because if you kind of look at this trend line here, connecting those, literally Bitcoin came and retested that level right there. And what I'm actually kind of worried about is a concept called a bump and run. So, and you can kind of make this happen on any uptrend when there's a series of uptrends, because we have this second yellow uptrend down here. Let me get my brush out down here, right? So if Bitcoin was to ever lose this uptrend, this one would be my target. And if this this alarm ever goes off, you bet your bottom dollar I'm shorting down to here. And they, and I never rule that out. Crypto, I don't ever want to seem like the bear, but I'm always going to be like super logical about everything, and I'm always just seeing what's possible, because a lot of times it's just retesting the previous trend line. That's generally what happens every time. So even if we applied that same math to this more recent uptrend here, right? Let me zoom out to like a 4 hour. More recent uptrend right here, same concept with a bump and a run. So let's see if it loses this more. This is a really sharp uptrend, by the way. Like when we put our bottom here at the end of April, mid-April, and ran up. Anytime you see a really sharp angle, like right here, or even this downtrend here, those sharp angles are almost guaranteed to break. And you can exploit the reversal of the break of that sharp angle, like you could have done right there, right? So when this breaks, my target once again becomes the trend line, the previous trend line, which would be this, in the same idea of that bump and run idea. And I'm actually kind of cool with that, because it would just be, the idea is just the retest of the uptrend, not to break and lose the uptrend. But you always just kind of think about the angles. So you see like, how sharp that was. But when this breaks down, where did it come to? Of course, this trend line from back here. It's a bump and run. It happens all the time. And this is something I've been paying attention to more lately. And it's a really good trading strategy. I'll leave you with one more chart.
Yeah, please.
I spend time when I talk about charts, because I fully explain everything, and because people need that. I am going to show you a chart from my Telegram group, straight from my Telegram group. And I don't do this much, but
ooh, what a plug. I need the link.
Okay, I'll add you for sure.
Okay.
All right. So this is the setup I gave on Sweet. All right. And as you can see, we trade this one a lot. If you look at like the left, we've been here before. Okay. So when this had its break, this alarm at 282 was a really big one, and hell, 44% in 16 days from that alarm. Not bad. But then something really interesting happened. Obviously, shout out to Market Cipher on the bottom of my screen there. But so then SWE started forming kind of this descending wedge, those yellow lines squeezing this way. Okay. And I knew that it was only a matter of time until it found a way to break out of that wedge. And at the time, we kind of zoom into, let me get rid of Market Cipher here, kind of zoom into this level. You see this little white box right here?
Yeah.
This white box. So this white box is where SWE was ranging at the time. And basically, I told my Telegram group, I'm like, look, like what I do is I put things in a situation called a conditional range, where if SWE is trading between 349 and 326, I don't care what happens in between. I only care what happens when one of those alarms goes off, and we can react to those alarms. And I always talk to my group about how you want to wait for a Super Bowl type situation. You don't want to bet week 8 against the Cowboys. You want to bet the Super Bowl setup. And sure, you could tighten this range and target the shorts inside of the parallel downtrend. Yes, you could do that. But the Super Bowl trade is if this alarm right here at 349 goes off, which is this alarm right there. And why is that alarm more important? Why is that a more favorable setup? That's a more favorable setup because that is the confirmation breakout level for the break of this downtrend here. And when you get confirmation on a breakout, you know, plus divergence, plus a positive momentum wave, the VWAP's moving up, the RSI is trending up. The confluence for this trade was really good. And I told everyone in the group, 349 is the long alarm. And sure enough, boom, 17% in about a day.
Damn.
And then we, to throw my EMA strategy into the mix here, exponential moving average. Wait, where are my EMAs? Oh, okay, hold on, I have to add them on. EMA, I'll actually show you guys how to do this. So you go to EMA 20, 50, 100, 200 right there. And then you go to settings. Okay, and then you get rid of the 20, you get rid of the 100, you change the color of the 50 to red and the color of the 200 to white. And all I care about is the 50 and the 200 EMA. That's the only thing that matters. And a lot of my trading strategy is kind of on the back, off the back of that idea. So this is more of a scalp strategy I'm going to show you. I generally do this on the 12 or 23 minute time frame. Why those time frames? I do the 23-minute time frame to jump in front of line on anyone who's doing the same EMA strategy on the 30-minute, and I do the 12-minute to jump the line on anyone trading on the 15-minute. So I'm a few minutes in front of them. And I know that sounds dumb, but it's a real strategy, trust me. And so here, this is what I actually did this during my show yesterday. And this is something I like to call a pressure trade. This is a concept I kind of made up all by myself. So anytime in a place of bullish continuation, right, the price action is always going to trade above the 50 EMA. You see this? Bullish continuation, bullish continuation. It's above the 50 EMA, that red line, exponential moving average. But then there become times where the price action gets separated too far away from the 50 EMA. And I feel that the pressure, it's going to get pushed back down to retest the 50. And I always tell people, write this down in big, bold letters. The 50 EMA is your best friend. It's your best friend in the whole world. There's Matt, there's Jada, there's Kelly, there's Brad, and then there's the 50 EMA, my best friend. Okay. So and honestly, and this is literally that white circle is where I went short yesterday during my live stream. And because I felt that it was going to come down and retest this red line. And then sure enough, from right here to right here, 3% down in 5 hours, and it actually went down further than that. I should have stayed in the trade. I got out of it. I made like $1,500 or $1,700, something like that, on my show yesterday with this concept. But now this kind of throws us in. I kind of explained what led us up the hill. I explained the pressure trade, but now let's explain the setup that we have right now in front of us. So basically, right now it's in another kind of just a sideways parallel range. And yeah, there's the implications of the uptrend surrounding it, and we can talk about that. But right now we have to highlight this alarm. We have to highlight this alarm. And if you want to draw the downtrend coming this way, you can, because that is, you know, forming a slight downtrend here. And then that, I'm sure that is going to intersect, all right, with this here, that way. I know this is very messy. Actually, I can't draw it that other way. But what I could say here is that say SWE takes a breath, which I don't think it will. I think it's more likely to hold up here. If SWE loses the 200 EMA on the 12-minute, I would say its target is this uptrend. That's my statement. So, and I would also equate the 200 EMA with this support resistance level, because if that alarm goes off, it already lost the 200. So I would say my SWE alarm right now is 3.829. That's for everybody. That is your SWE short alarm. 3.829. That is your SWE short alarm. And obviously, I'm not really trying to target, because it's flat on the EMA and not too far above it. I'm not really trying to trade inside of this range. I'm waiting for the break of that range. So 389 or 410. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Easy setup.
Wow. Okay, well, I just learned a lot. Thank you for that. That was good stuff, AJ. Dang.
I love TA.
No, I
It's my
can
thing.
tell you have such a passion for it, and I really like commend you for doing what you do. Do you believe in the whole Bitcoin dominance theory or no?
Yes. Oh yeah, Benjamin Cowan. Me and him have argued on my channel and on Twitter a couple times, but he's a friend. He's been on my channel. I have a lot of respect for Ben. And at the end of the day, he was right. You know, when I was at his party on the rooftop at Bitcoin
Oh yeah, that's
Miami.
where I met you. I was hanging out with
Well,
you and
I saw you
Jada.
there.
Yeah.
Yep, 2 years ago, and that's when I really was, getting to know everybody. And I overheard someone saying, oh, Ben thinks Bitcoin dominance is going to 60. Ain't that a joke? And I was like, yeah, he's out of his fucking mind. And sure enough, Ben Cowan, clutch.
Dude,
And
he's a genius.
and then don't get me wrong, he's been right. He's been wrong. I've been right. I've been wrong. You're not going to be 100% on every call, but it's the insane calls you make when everyone else is like, no, you're crazy, that end up being right. That's where you get your respect. So right or wrong down the road, whatever, Ben called that shit. And props to him. Props to him. So very, very cool. Yeah, and I follow Bitcoin dominance chart all the time. It's a very useful chart, especially when you're trying to time altcoin, the move of the altcoin market, for sure.
Yeah, I love Ben Cohen. Man is a genius. I think he worked at
Yeah.
NASA or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
has all sorts of degrees, and dude,
And like a
oh my
million
God.
kids. I just know he has a million kids. Like,
Yeah. His wife is really cool too. He's a great guy. I love the amount of awesome people we have in this space that, like,
yeah.
if you do crypto content long enough, like, you're going to meet X, Y, and Z, and we're a pretty awesome crowd. So
Yeah, I gotta say, it's great, and that whole like Ben Cohen get together in Nashville was awesome too, and I just loved everyone I met. My sister loved Jada. She's like, this girl is so sweet, and I was like, yeah, she's great. And so, yeah, I think it's just great to see people in real life too, like.
yeah.
Just so beautiful. What a beautiful gathering.
Yeah,
And so, for everyone that doesn't know, AJ's about to be a Papa AJ. And it's just so beautiful. And I absolutely love it. I thought he was going to be like a dad at 25, and I was about to be like, go you. But you're actually an adult and it fits your timeline. So, like.
I appreciate you, Randy. Thanks for the support. But you're actually an adult and it fits your timeline. That's what she said.
No, it does. It does. I think 33 is a great time to have a kid, especially for a guy, because like
you're right.
I feel like and you can tell me if I'm wrong though, because I feel like for men in their 20s, it's like a great time for them to build, and then 30s is like also a great time to build, but like build your family too with your wealth. Am I wrong about that?
No, 100%. You start kind of seeing things and through a different lens, and you kind of throw all the immature stuff out the window, like bad college habits or whatever. And I kind of feel that, they kind of have that quote, like when a kid turns like 13 or whatever, the parents are always like, oh, like, we'll get him back when he's 22 or something like that. Well, my dad was like, I got you back when you turned 30. So, and he's kind of right, to be honest. So he's right. But yeah, we all live and we learn, you know what I mean? Like, if I think everyone's come up story is so awesome in crypto. Like, I've heard some just insane stories, like the rags to riches type thing, and that's why I like to tell my story as detailed as I do too, because like I know what it's like to have nothing, like, for real.
Yeah.
And this industry, it is possible to change your life around, and you have to kind of reassociate your relationship with money, kind of reconfigure your relationship with yourself and your time and what your time is worth. And like, you can't be defined, like, if you're stuck inside of a 9 to 5, like, you can get out of that. You just have to want it really bad, and you have to fight for it. You have to fight like hell. It's that simple. And I tell my story, and I'm proud to tell it, ups and downs and the hard parts to say, just because, like, I did it. We did it, and it's a continuous thing. It's not like over now, like now the good part starts where I can help other people replicate my success. And that's what it's really all about.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of people in the stream that have the whole mantra of givers gain. And I really do believe in that as well, because a lot of people in this community have changed my life. Like, the only reason I have like the computer I'm streaming on right now is because someone in this community helped me build a computer. And I really I wouldn't have been able to stream if I didn't have this computer that I have right now, because my other one was just taking me out and shutting down, and it couldn't handle the stream. And it's just absolutely nuts of what this community can do for you. And especially because I feel like crypto's a very compassionate place based on who you meet, of course. But I feel like there's a lot of people that, like you said, have come from nothing. And so they want to help other people like get somewhere. And so I really commend you for what you're doing. And I have like a lot of love for you, man. And I'm just so happy for you. And I'm sending like all my love, prayers, and blessings over to you and Jada and your baby that you're going to have. And I'm just so excited for you to bring life into this world, because you guys are just so great people, and we like need more of you guys. So I think this is like a really good thing that's happening right now. And I have a lot of love for everybody in the chat too. So I really appreciate everyone coming out today. We are almost at the top of the hour. So I know AJ's a busy man, and he has like a pregnant fiance and everything. So he has to take care of her and give her tea or something. So guys, please make sure you smash the like, subscribe to the channel, share this out with friends. Please go in the description of the video and the live chat, follow AJ, enter the Tesla giveaway. If you do not enter this Tesla giveaway, you're actually insane. AJ, any last words for everyone? It could be about like dirt bikes, it could be about like sand on the beach, it could be about Nashville going yeehaw. Like, tell me anything that's on your heart and in your mind, and say it to the crowd. What's your final thought?
All right, so a wise woman once told me to keep it zesty. To keep it zesty. And I think you're right. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep the snaz level, a skosh above a 6.4, and the snaz and zesty level have to be at least over a 6.4, in my opinion.
It's the zest dominance.
This But no, I really appreciate, Randy. You're awesome. Your channel's awesome. Shout out to your audience, everybody. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to Randy. I always wondered, I was like, are you gonna change your name? And then you were like, I'm just gonna make it my name. And I was like, genius, because I was so worried about that for whatever reason back in the day.
Everyone was, man. Everyone was.
Yeah, everyone. That's true. But now, one day at a time, everybody. I think what happens with crypto, and the misconception with crypto, is that there are examples where, people get rich overnight. Well, that's the exception, not the rule. And if you want to find your way in crypto, understand that you're about to go on a journey. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. It's going to take years. And I think to take that 2-cycle approach, or at least take that one day at a time mentality, is the best way to go about it. Because don't mess yourself up getting overwhelmed because you don't have it right now. It's delayed gratification. It takes time, and you're building and building and building and building and building. And only when you go to bed every night, if you put the work in today.
Yep.
If you fucked off, or if you did the work. Do the work. And if you do that every day for a couple of years, you're gonna get there. I promise you. So one day at a time, chase your dreams. And Randy, you're awesome. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, AJ. You're the best. Guys, smash the like, subscribe, share it out with friends. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday for the Daily Zest. Okay, bye. Mwah.
Bye.